Hi, this is Walking and Talking Spirituality. Thanks for taking a walk with me. Had a great conversation this week with Steve Rankin. Steve is now a retired chaplain from SMU. He's been a pastor and a professor, and he was on my podcast. That episode will be probably out by the time this video is, or out in a couple of weeks if it's not. But we were talking about situational holiness. And I love that phrase. In a lot of the work that I do and my coaching, I get folks that I work with to think about the tough times in their life and how they want to act, how they want to show up, and just become real mindful of those things. Because as we know, friends, it's really easy for us to be our best selves on good days, but how can we more and more open ourselves up to grace so that on those challenging days we can be our best self too? And as we were talking, we got to Matthew 5:48, be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. And Steve made a point that if we look at that in the context, what's the illustration of perfection in love? If you go back a few verses, and if you've read Matthew 5 in the past, Jesus is talking about love in the verses immediately before that, in verses 5:43 to 47. And to illustrate what a perfect love looks like, Jesus says things like, become like the Father who sends the rain on the just and the unjust, or on the righteous and the unrighteous. And then he also uses the illustration of don't just greet your friends and the people that love you, because even the tax collectors and the pagans do that. So what would it look like today? And we just had an election. I'm shooting this just a couple days after the election day 2020. Still don't exactly know the full picture of who won what. A lot of tension in the United States. But what does it look like for us as Christians to love our enemies? And notice what happens as soon as you ask that question. You kind of have to name an enemy. You have to name the other. And if we're honest, we all probably have some other in our life. But here's the thing. As soon as you realize and ask the question, how do I love the other? And you begin to love the other's not an other anymore. And you begin to heal the very wounds that can break apart societies, that can split churches, that can even split families. So friends, what would a perfection in love look like for you? And what would it look like for you today? What's it look like for me today to learn how to love our enemies? Answer that question and your world's going to get a lot bigger. Love to hear your feedback, ideas. Again, this is Brian Russell, and it's been a real privilege to have this walk with you this morning.